Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you're doing well. It is a bright and early gray morning. Lots of rain last night, which is good. Storm. We need the water, and I'm happy about it. Let us continue our reading of Nietzsche's The Spoke Zarathustra book. Go ahead and listen to this as you're on your commute, you're on the subway, you're on the train, taking a break at work. Whatever you do to unwind. Let's begin. We were in this section titled On the Land of Education. So he's probably going to take a stab at that. Should be good. Let's begin. Bismillah. I flew too far into the future. Dread overcame me. And when I looked around, behold, time was my sole contemporary. Time was my sole contemporary. Then I flew back toward home, faster and faster, and thus I came to you, O men of today, and into the land of education. For the first time I really had eyes for you, and a genuine desire. Verily, it was longing in my heart that I came. But what happened to me? For all my anxiety I had to laugh. Never had my eyes beheld anything so dappled and motley. So here, it's almost like he's anthropomorphizing education. That's what I'm getting from it. Like, he's making it like the field of education has not lived up to his standards and made him not like it. It's kind of like if you think of the ideas of what public schools could be and versus what they are today in America. Indoctrination centers teaching kids about, sodomy and becoming a eunuch instead of farming, taxes, more important things about nature, names of trees, way more healthy and more productive things. So you can go in wanting a genuine desire to learn, and then you see how schools almost feel like a giant daycare and they're not really on knowledge. I laughed and laughed while my foot was still trembling, and my heart no less. This is clearly the home of all paint pots, I said, with 50 blotches painted on your faces and limbs. You were sitting there, and I was amazed, you men of today, and with 50 mirrors around you to flatter and echo your color display. Now this is interesting. All these mirrors kind of reminds me of that scene in Versailles where King Louis is in his hall of mirrors, and he points to one mirror and he's like, I don't like that mirror. And the idea of just having a whole hall of mirrors, you could probably translate that today to a people who post endless selfies of themselves. Like every day, or at least 5 times a week, it's just selfie. So they flatter themselves. They can't just stop posting pictures of their butts and their faces and their duck lips and their strangeness. So the flattering of mirrors also comes via the camera lens, I'd argue. Verily, you could wear no better masks, you men of today, than your own faces. Ooh. Verily, you men could wear no better masks than your own faces. Now that's a very Nietzschean insult. Who could possibly find you out? With the characters of the past written all over you, and these characters in turn painted over the new characters, thus have you concealed yourselves perfectly from all interpreters of characters. Interpreters of characters. Concealment. And even if one could try the reins, who would be fool enough to believe that you have reins? You seem baked out of colors and pasted notes, motley, all ages and peoples. Peek out of your veils. Motley, all customs and faiths speak out of your gestures. If one took the veils and wraps and collars and gestures away from you, just enough would be left to scare away the crows. Scare away the crows. Because the scarecrow, supposed to look kind of ghastly. But some of them they don't look so scary. It's just that a crow is like, what is that? And they fly away. But they've done one research where they put on like a mask with a pointy nose and big elongated ears, and they started to being, I wouldn't say mean to the crows, but they did some type of experiment while wearing those masks, and then they bred the crows, let the crows out into the wild. The crows that were not born under that experiment started attacking somebody whenever they wore that mask. I wish I knew the name of the experiment, but crows are really brave, and they have like this memory, and then they have these instances where they do get scared, which is so that if you know about crows and ravens, this line here makes some interesting sense. Verily, I myself am the scared crow who once saw you naked and without color. Wow. So something so hideous and so unlike it appears that it actually can scare you. And I flew away when the skeleton beckoned to me lovingly. So the skeleton's like, hey, and you're like, you don't look like what you take off the veils and wraps and the colors and the gestures, and you are not. It's almost like he's talking about peeling back the layers. This is something interesting. I could think of, when he talks like this, I think of a school teacher who you think is wise and kind and all that, and then you see there an ignoramus who's deeply disturbed and ignorant and shouldn't be at their job. So the more your eyes have the veils removed, the more you can see them for what they are. Rather would I be a day laborer in Hades, among the shades of the past, even the underworldly, or a plumber and fuller than you. Wow. So, in Hades is the Greek form of hell, and so to be a laborer in hell would be quite exhausting. And the people of the past were better, because remember he's contending he did a time travel thing. So these are the men of today, and now he's saying the shades of the past. The shades of the past are better than the men of the day, he's saying. This is bitterness for my bowels, that I can endure you neither naked nor clothed. I can endure you naked or clothed. I can't deal with who you are authentically and who you fake to be either. You men of today, all that is uncanny in the future, and all that has ever made fugitive birds shudder, is surely more comfortable and cozy than your reality. For thus you speak, real are we entirely, and without belief or superstition. Thus you stick out your chests, but alas, they are hollow. A hollow chest. It's not really any muscle there. There's no blood pumping. Indeed, how should you be capable of any belief, being so dappled and motley? He's repeated that a lot, which shows you he's trying to really ingrain the image. It's not something with magnanimity. It's not something with adorned plumage or this sort of shiny mane of hair, dappled and motley. You who are paintings of all that men have ever believed, you are walking refutations of all belief, and you break the limbs of all thought. You break the limbs of all thought. This reminds me of a drawing I saw where it showed a teacher going up to the student who had wings on his back and cutting it. And another one where all these little tree branches who have, like, the twigs out were going into a classroom, and then the teacher with a square head has an axe and he's turning all the students into these little logs. There's a lot of art that denotes how teachers can kind of break thought, and I would say that the rainbow flag is one. If you have political flags in the classroom that aren't related to the nation, you're pushing a different type of thought. Like, they literally flew the Ukraine flag in the beginning for my kid's school, involving an elementary school student in the Ukraine-Russian conflict, way above their heads, trying to tell them what to think, whose side to take. Kids that can't find Ukraine on a map, never even heard of it, don't even know a Ukrainian. And they're trying to be like, you need to hate Russia. And then Americans have the audacity sometimes to complain that other countries will tell their people not to like us. And I always found that to be odd, because we literally do that. And so the schools, they shut you down. Instead of being neutral and just focusing on knowledge and education, they become political centers. Unbelievable, thus I call you, for all your pride in being real. For all your pride in being real. So he's contending they're the most fakest. Because how can they be real when they break the limbs of all thought? And he contends that they stick out their chests, but it's hollow. He can't endure them naked nor clothed. They scare away the crows. They're like they're a skeleton underneath. There's no meat there, nothing to munch on. All ages prayed against each other in your spirits, and the dreams and prattings of all ages were yet more real than your waking. You are sterile. That is why you lack faith. Now this is another interesting line. You're sterile. That is why you lack faith. If you're fertile, you got that faith. Maybe because you see the growth. You have a biome in which something can grow. The soil of your mind, being able to sprout ideas. But if it's just a desolate, dry, no liquid thought, well, guess what? Nothing grows. But whoever had to create also had his prophetic dreams and astral signs, and had faith in faith. You are half-open gates at which the gravediggers wait. Wow. You are half-open gates at which gravediggers wait. Because the gravedigger, you know, they're the ones who make the hole. So if they're waiting to even dig the hole, you don't know if it's dead yet. Hasn't come to its final cause. Hasn't come to its the culminating point. You know? They're just in this limbo. And this is your reality. Everything deserves to perish. Everything deserves to perish. That is so nihilistic. I like it. Disney's got lines, man. I'm gonna put that on the quote. Everything deserves to perish. How you stand there, you who are sterile, how thin around the ribs. And some among you probably realized this and said, probably some god secretly took something from me while I slept. Verily enough to make himself a little female. Strange is the poverty of my ribs. Thus have some men of today already spoken. Indeed, you make me laugh, you men of today, and particularly when you are amazed at yourselves. He's really witty and salty, so you make me laugh. Especially when you're amazed at yourself. And I should be in a sorry plight if I could not laugh at your amazement, and had to drink down everything disgusting out of your bowels. But I shall take you more lightly, for I have a heavy burden. What does it matter to me if bugs and winged worms still light on my bundle? Verily, that will not make it heavier, and not from you, you men of today, shall the great weariness come over me. Alas, where shall I climb now with my longing? So once that illusion is busted, where will you go next? From all mountains I look out for fatherlands and motherlands. I like that, what he just said. From all mountains I look out for fatherlands and motherlands. You tell a leftist that, I want a fatherland, motherland. They'll be like, you fascist, how dare you? And you're like, shouldn't. And we're not supposed to have like pure raw nationalism. But you can like where you live and want to take care of it. Like, if you have an Islamic empire, you're going to take pride in that if it's healthy and stuff, right? Want the best for it. The fatherland protects and guides you, and then the motherland nurtures you and raises you, allows you to have a place for children to grow without pure trauma. But home I found nowhere, fugitive I in all cities, and departure at all gates. Strange mockery to me are the men of today, to whom my heart recently drew me, and I am driven out of fatherlands and motherlands. Thus I know love only in my children's land, yet undiscovered in the farthest sea. For this I bid my sails search and search. In my children I want to make up for being the child of my fathers, and to the future for this today. Thus spoke Zarathustra. So here, this is a new line that we haven't heard before, which is that a children's land. And so the children's land, that's another unique one, because I've just never heard that. And when he says here, but home I found nowhere, a fugitive I am. A fugitive I am in all cities, and departure at all gates. Just kind of showing how he can't find somewhere to be, that he keeps searching and looking, right? Okay, fam, the family is back, and I'm gonna go hang out with them. This was a great section. Very witty, very funny, hilarious. I annotated a lot in this section, and I'm going to see if I can create some AI pictures and then put some of those quotes on there, because some of these are just so on the nose that they actually really make you think. Okay. And if you'd like to join my blog and support the content, it's www.subscribestar.com/MilhanArchive. Hope to see you there. Gotta go.